Well, hello, everyone. This is Bob Odell with Root Source, and today we want to catch up with one of our regular contributors on the Root Source newsletter, Yehudah Katz. He is a musician. His wife is an artist. He is a writer. He gives a weekly commentary on the Torah portion. So today we want to talk with him about some of the things that are happening right now. So I wanted to say hello to Yehudah Katz. How are you doing?
Good, thank God. Hi, Bob. Hi to everybody. Thanks for opening your homes and your hearts to allow me in. As I wrote last week, and as I blessed our local rabbi here, last time I saw him, which was like, I don't know, when we were allowed to walk more than 100 meters, so 10 days ago, I said, listen, Rabbi Yossi, he said, give me a blessing. You're a Kohen, give me a blessing. I said, I bless us all that we shouldn't be embarrassed if somebody calls us Mashiachim. If somebody says, you the guys that want the Messiah here, we should say thank you very much.
When you say that word, is that like when people say, if you're part of the Likud party, you are a Likudnik? Is that?
Yeah, so they made up a new word.
Yeah, and what was the word again?
Mashiachim. It was made up in between the time of the end of the elections and the Gantz people threatening to make a government with the Arabs. Listen, in 1984, occupied territory was made up. It was made up in Hebrew. You know who made it up?
No.
Not Arabs. Jewish members of Knesset. So sometimes we can be our own worst enemies. But for me, a good sign is that in the past week or so, there seemed to be a trickling of people leaving Lapid's party, saying, this isn't what we bought into.
Right.
So that's good.
Right.
So that's good. But it's just, in my humble opinion, one little part of the big picture. The big picture being, the true redemption. The big picture being the potential, if not actual, war of Gog and Magog, which could really be going on right now.
Is there anything that you hope for? Not just analyzing what is happening, but what is your hope that comes out of this time?
I hope that on the Passover night, every single Jewish person is going to realize that they want the redemption, and all the non-Jewish people that will see the Jews and say, wow, finally, we've been waiting for you to do this. We're going to come here and join us.
Wow.
That is truly my hope. And
that's a good hope.
Yeah, it's a little big for some people to think about, but enough already. Enough. I just think we've had enough. And I don't like seeing people dying. I don't like hearing about people dying. And even though very few people are dying in Israel, people dying all over the world. I'm really sorry that they have to give up their lives. I'm not rejoicing over the massive amount of deaths in Iran. Because I'm not supposed to rejoice over it. But, the fact is that a lot of their people are dying. And I don't know who, but apparently in the beginning, there was 30 of their parliamentarians. So Something's happening. But I believe that the most positive thing that can happen is that we say, okay, I get it. We have been messing up the world in a big way. We need to stop separating ourselves one from the other. We need to stop being greedy. We need to know that you run the world. There's enough food for everybody. There's enough everything for everybody. Should stop hoarding and stop greeding and stop overselling and stop over businessizing and just find the way to love each other. And if we tell Hashem that we really want this, how could he say no?
Yeah.
But if, God forbid, God forbid, that this disease, plague ends, and we go back to the same crap, forget it. I don't want to be here. I wouldn't want to be here. Done that, been there. That's not why I was sent to this world. So that's what I'm really hoping and praying that, this year the Seder will force people. I wrote about it this week. This year the Seder will force people to really do a serious personal assessment.
Well said.
Just as a prelude to what I wrote about, so you'll understand. If you know this already, so then stop me. We have one of the most important aspects of Pesach is not having leavened bread in our home. Did you know that?
Yes.
Bread. Chametz, it's called. Chametz is representative of haughtiness because there's flat dough, and then if you put yeast on it, it rises. And the chametz is the bad stuff that you have inside yourself that you got to get rid of. But it's not that easy to identify because we spend our whole lifetime hiding it from ourselves. You like to know the bad stuff about yourself? Who does? So on the 14th day, Hashem tells us, you got to check. What? My daughters have been cleaning the house for 2 weeks. What do I have to check? No, I have to take a candle, which is the candle of God, is the soul of man. And I need to look inside. I see, who am I? What is that stuff that I do that always wants to make me important and special and above everybody else? And what is that stuff? Because I want to get rid of it. And not only are we commanded to get rid of it, the next morning, you know what we do? We burn it. Getting rid of it is not enough. I can't just throw it in the air. I have to burn it. Burn it is a very final act.
Right.
I don't want any more of that haughtiness in me. That's it. Finished. And if we can get enough people to get to that place and really care, then I'm looking forward. Okay.
So do you have anything else to share in particular about the Passover coming up?
I noticed something very special last week as we were starting to build up for Passover, as the month of Nisan came upon us, this new month of renewal. And I started thinking about my lifetime. And I realized that around sometime in the 1960s, there was a move all over the world, probably started in the United States, but I don't know for a fact, that people should care about other people's feelings. unfortunately, in a lot of instances, that over 20 years' time stopped being, oh, I need to care about your feelings, and started becoming only, hey, care about my feelings.
Care about my
You
feelings.
didn't care about my feelings. And it made couples say things to each other that they could have avoided. And it made people become selfish. And I noticed why I thought of it 10 days ago was because 3 of our children, all in one day, had a telephone conversation with me, 3 separate conversations, explaining why they could not come to our Passover Seder this year. And it wasn't because they didn't want to be with us, God forbid. And they were all able to express that an ability to put their feelings aside and all say the same thing. Abba, we don't want to take a chance of hurting you and Ima. And this virus, you and Ima are too susceptible to it. And so therefore, we can't come to your house. We can't come home. And I thought to myself, and I said it to one of my neighbors who told me he was in the same situation with his mother. And I said, do you know how beautiful it is what you're doing? You're saying it's not about my feelings. My feelings are taking a back seat to the mitzvah of kibud av va'em, to the mitzvah of honoring one's parents. I'm going to give my parents honor instead of caring about my feelings. I thought that's amazing. Thank God, it's revolutionary.
Thank you for sharing. That's quite meaningful.
It's very real.
Especially as these Passover Seders are going to be some of the smallest on record. It's the fewest number of people gathered per home.
I'll tell you a story. This is just, to tell you. I don't know if you find it interesting, I could retell it. I could tell it, you could record it. If it's not interesting, you could erase it. Last week, I was studying a piece of Talmud. And in that piece of Talmud, there's a discussion of who is supposed to ask the questions at the Seder table. Now, in case you don't know, there's a custom that very much towards the beginning of the Seder night, we sit down around the table. The youngest person, stands up and ostensibly asks the father 4 questions, which are summed up by, why is this night different than all other nights? And there are 4 different categories. So the Talmud asks a question, what happens if there's no children at the table? Who asked the question? The Talmud says, if there are 2 wise people there, they should ask each other the questions.
Mm.
And then the Gemara says, what if it's only one person? And he said, and the Talmud answers, then he needs to ask himself. Is to go inside and ask himself those questions. Why is this night different? The next day, a friend of mine in New York was about to give a class to his community. And he said, I'm calling because I just wanted to check it with you, see what you think. And what is he going to study about? This exact Gemara that I learned the day before. And he said, it's so amazing. Every time I've studied this piece of Talmud, I thought, it's absurd. Why are you bringing such a question? How's it possible that a person will be sitting alone at the Seder? And now, for the first time in my lifetime, I don't even have to imagine it. It's real.
Wow. It's an amazing connection.
Yeah. And I think that God is just telling us, this is the time. Whatever situation you're in, bring me into it with you. Especially if it's you alone. Because when you're asking the questions of yourself, you're basically asking God. And you need, one of the things that I've been begging Hashem every day is, help me to get to the point where I don't do anything that takes me further away from you. And that everything I do, I should be blessed to bring myself closer to you. Because he's not running away from me, it's me running away from him. And I don't want to do it anymore.
Mhm.
And I want the redemption, I want the Geula to come now, but I want it to come with mercy. If the coronavirus and all of the death and the pain and suffering infused in it is, as many of us believe, connected to the Geula, to the redemption, then that's enough. Please, that's enough. And our part is just to be able to say with a full heart, and I mean it with a full heart, enough with the thinking and enough with the philosophizing, and I have to have a full heart and say, yes, I really want it. Whatever this new world is that I really don't know, that I don't understand, is a truly unknown, the scariest thing. I trust you, Hashem, it's going to be great for us.
I want to thank you for sharing, Yehudah. It's been great spending some time with you this morning. Appreciate your insights, and may we all take comfort and hope and be inspired by what you've had to say. Yehudah Katz from Tekoa. This is Bob Odell from Root Source saying,
Thank you very much. Toda rabba. Peace for everybody. Everybody.
This is Bob Odell from Root Source saying, Shalom.